Well, it's that time again, guys. Welcome to Open Studio on Cape Town TV. My name is Ashley Brandt, and welcome to Open Studio. Today, I'm sitting with a young man, Siyabonga Mzimba, and he's here today to tell us about his non-profit organization, Pioneer of Change. Siyabonga, welcome to the show.
Good day.
How
Thank
you
you for
feeling?
having me. I'm all good. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, man. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from, and how did you get to start Pioneer of Change?
Well, as you've said, my name is Siyabonga Mzimba. I'm from a small town in KZN, namely Coxted. I started Pioneers of Change, namely Change Movement, in December 2017. And the motive behind starting it was purely because of the love that I have for helping people.
Wow. So you had a passion for young people, and this was that drove you to starting this.
Definitely.
That is phenomenal.
Definitely.
With the year with existence, you have instituted over 16 drives. Tell us about that.
Yes, we've actually had more than 16 because that information was updated in May. So we've had like 5 more, so that's 21. We've had numerous drives in Durban, Coxted, that's both in KZN, and then we've had 2 drives in Joburg, and we've had most of them here in Cape Town.
That's phenomenal. You've also had a charity drive that took place in the Cape Town, Durban, and Kokstad. Share us a little bit about that. What did you guys do?
Well, in terms of charity drives, we have 2 divisions in the sphere of charity drives, whereby we orchestrate food drives and we orchestrate clothing drives. So we've got branches as an organization, and we've got 7 branches currently in around South Africa. We've got a branch in Mpumalanga, Cape Town, Saldanha Bay, Durban, Joburg. So the drives that we have usually ask for donations, clothing donations, and then we go donate clothes, and then we have food drives where you ask for food, sanitary pads, and then we go donate that as well. So throughout these branches, that's what we do. We orchestrate those drives, charity and clothing drives, and those are under the category of social responsibility, right? Because our slogan as an organization is purely to institute social development whilst advocating for youth empowerment. So when it comes to the side of youth empowerment, that's where we basically orchestrate career expos. On the 19th of January in Coxted, we held our first career expo as an organization, because we realized that helping, when you orchestrate the drives, those are clothing drives, charity drives, you go to individuals that are needy in the street, or you go donate to shelters and whatnot. But doing that, you're basically giving people, but you're not sure if that's what they need. You know what I mean? So that's when we decided to develop another phase of the organization, which is youth empowerment. And then we started this year, as I've stated recently, that we orchestrated a career expo at a local church in Coxted, namely Power of Love. And we hosted all the schools, 7 high schools around Coxted, and it was free entrance, free food, and free. The local mayor, Honorable Begim Tolo, was there as well to bless us with his presence, and Fever, local newspaper, was there as well.
That is phenomenal. Tell me quickly, before we carry on further, what inspired you with the name Pioneer of Change?
I wouldn't really take credit for that name, because the name that I got when I started the organization and when I decided to start it in December 2017, I had the name Change Movement. And that's a common name that we're known by. But a friend of mine that works at Alfrenzo radio station, namely Alungile Kumba, he gave me the name Pioneers of Change because he was very enthusiastic about the work that we do. So all shout out to him for the name. Yes.
Shout out to him, phenomenal for that, man. Tell us, what is Rise Against Hunger? What do they do?
Rise Against Hunger is an organization that I got introduced to by LSR. There's a section, Leadership Social Responsibility Program at University of Western Cape that I was part of. So last year, 2018, I was part of that team. So I was an emerging leader. So we got invited by Rise Against Hunger to associate with them, namely with Change Movement as well, to pack food for university students. So last year we packed roughly 18,000 plus food packs for needy students within the university. And then again, this year, 2019, we had a similar thing, and this year it was 20,788 food packs. So actually this this coming Thursday, we're going to have another thing for Mandela Day hosted by the LSR division as well.
That is awesome. Now, you've also had the privilege in visiting the Cape Town Society of the Blind and Cape Town Mental Health for training. Share with us that experience.
That experience, for me, it was very heartwarming, and it made me realize that there's more to life. There's more to life.
Absolutely.
Because one thing that I found intriguing and very uplifting at Cape Town Society for the Blind is we obviously basically walked around, and then they showed us what they do, their services and whatnot. And then the most uplifting part for me was when we had a dinner in the dark. So what happened is they arranged us in rows, and then we had to walk in a building, dark building. Our eyes were closed, so it was dark. You couldn't see who's next to you. You couldn't see where you are. You couldn't see what you're eating. You couldn't see anything. It was absolutely dark. So we had to eat in the dark, and then it was hard. You had to look for, where's the spoon, where's this, where's the juice, where's the food, what are you eating? And then we ate, and whilst we were eating, people, they were singing. We didn't even know who was singing. And then after we ate, they asked us, did everybody eat? And then we're like, yes, everybody ate, we all done. And then they lit on the lights. And then when they lit on the lights, the people that were serving us food whilst we were sitting waiting for food, you know, when you eating, you like the waiters, the waitresses, they're all blind.
Yeah.
So all the people that cook that food are blind people. So it was basically like a way, like an analogy or a way of making you see what blind people go through and what they can do with their limitations. So how much more can you do with what you have? So those people sang, they did all that food, they were walking around serving us in the dark as well.
What a phenomenal concept. I absolutely love it. I love that. We're going to go on a short break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly on Open Studio. Welcome back to Open Studio on Cape Town TV. If you've just joined us, my name is Ashley Brandt, and I'm sitting with a young man with a phenomenal drive who started his own non-profit organization, Pioneer of Change. Siyabonga, one of your main focuses is to promote and to install social development and youth development. How do you do that?
Well, youth empowerment is basically what we focus more on, or what we're starting to focus more on, because we found that it's much more sustainable than social development. Because in the sphere of social development, as I stated earlier, it's where we basically do things for people. Like we donate clothes to needy people, we donate food, pads, and all those type of things. But we had an analysis of the impact of what we do. And we realized that by giving something to someone, it's not really sustainable, because you don't know if that's what that person really needs. But when we introduced the youth empowerment side of the organization, that's where we found that it's more sustainable and it's more impactful, because that's where you bring up the youth, you train them, the thought of mind, and basically how they should go about in life. So with the youth empowerment side of it, we've hosted career expos, as I stated earlier, and we also had recently, on the 13th of June, we had a meet and greet motivation section at Carl Malcolmus High School. It's a local school in Coxted. So what we did is we consulted the leadership of the school, that's your deputies, your principals and HODs, and then we asked them to allocate 13 needy females that are doing good in terms of their academic endeavors. And then they got us the goals. So what we did is, in an organization, we tried to uplift them, basically. So what we did is we hosted their matric ball for them. We donated heels, makeup, all the necessities for a goal to basically
a makeover.
A makeover, yeah. And the name of that campaign was Be Her Dream Come Through campaign. So on the 13th of July, we got all the goals in Coxhead. I was that side on the 13th. We got all of them. They came through, and we had like a motivational talk. Because last year, 2018, I was privileged to be part of HIV and AIDS unit. So I went for
Yes,
training.
tell us about that.
Yeah. So I went for training last year in January in Paul. And then the whole year of last year, I was basically working in that department at UWC under the leadership of Sis Lungsile Kweyama. So what we used to do last year, whilst I was a peer ed, is to invite students to come get tested, teach them about HIV, difference between HIV and AIDS, and the impacts of HIV, impacts of AIDS. So on the 13th of July, when we hosted this meet and greet, whereby the matriculants of Kalmar Commerce came through, we gave them their addresses, we gave them food, and we spoke to them. I had the opportunity to talk to them about what I learned last year in the HIV and AIDS unit. And then I was Secretary General of the organization, namely Buhle Joxo. He's at VETS. He was there as well, and he got to inspire and motivate the goals because he's currently pursuing his 3rd year in chemical engineering.
Wow.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. So this development programs that you're running, where do you run these programs? Do you go to schools, you go to church, to different communities? How does it start?
Well, I won't say we go to a specific area, namely all the names that you just mentioned, church, schools. It's more of where can we actually be impactful and where do we need to actually go work, if you get what I mean. So we diverse. Actually, the name change itself came about being different. We're an NPO, but we do things differently. Because the NPO itself is fully run by university students, and we're all under 21 years old. So it's like we're basically trying to break the chain of saying you're going to do things when you're older. You know, often you get youth, they say, no, I want to do this when I'm this certain age. I want to do this when I'm that. But with us as an organization, we're basically changing the whole game.
Yes.
It's basically you are now. You know, you're not the future, you are now. So that's basically what that's what drives us. So to answer your question again, where do we do these things? We don't have a certain area that we say, no, we're strictly doing our things at church. We're strictly doing our things at a local shelter. We do all these diverse things. Because if you look at all our programs that we've orchestrated throughout our year and 3 months of existence, we've been to shelters, we've been to people in the taxi area, people on you get those people that stay in those plastic houses.
Yes.
Yes, we've been there in Bellville in the taxi area. We've been in Kukuletu at a children's home, Bapumelele. We've been to Peter PS children's home in Coxhead. We've been to a church, Power of Love, and then recently the campaign that we had, Be a Dream Come Through campaign. It was at a school. We basically uplifted matriculants of a school, and then Mandela Day on the 18th of July, we also volunteered to go paint Yonela's house. It's a grade 11 lady. It's a young lady from Horseshoe in Coxhead. She basically has a problem with the legs. She hasn't been walking for the past 10 years. So she has a wheelchair. So what we did as an organization, we bought her stuff, educational equipment, a goodie bag, diaries, calculators, sweets, chocolates, and we painted a home. We painted the whole house for Mandela Day.
That
so we
is
do a diversity
amazing.
of things. We don't have a certain thing of we this, we that. That's why we change. We're changing the whole sphere of abiding to systems, basically. Just follow your heart and do what you can to help other people.
That is great. And like you've mentioned before, you are a bunch of youngsters under the age of 21, is that correct?
Definitely.
And how many guys are you?
We've got board members and we've got members.
Yes.
So amongst the board members, there's 5 of us. That's myself, I'm the founder and the chairperson. And then there's Ubohle Joxo. He's the Secretary General. He's at Wits University. And then there's Umbali Mngocho. She's the chairperson. Deputy chairperson, and she's at UKZN in Durban. And then we've got Atayanda Gwiliza. She's at University of Mpumalanga. She's a finance officer. And we've got Ntando Msindwana. He's currently just graduated at UJ, and he's working at a logistic company in Joburg. So those are the 5 people that are the board members, and then every other individual is members within the branches that we have around South Africa.
Phenomenal. The same dream and chasing the same thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Guys, we're going to go to another short break. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Open Studio, guys, on Cape Town TV. I'm Ashley Brandt. Siyabonga, share with us some of the inspiring stories that affected you personally.
Well, personally, I wouldn't say there's much negative things that have affected me, but in terms of within the organization, it has affected me positively because I got to grow as an individual. Because when I started the organization, it was December 2017, and that's when I just concluded my first year. So I had to reflect, because I'm from KZN in a small town of Coxhead, and now I'm in Cape Town, a big city. So I had to reflect, what have I done thus far this year, and my resolutions for the year. Have I accomplished them? What do I want to do next year, and so forth. So when I started the organization, it gave me direction. It gave me direction, and everything else that I've accomplished thus far in my life is basically birth of the organization, because it has challenged me to open up, meet new people, give me direction, and fear. Like, I don't about to fear anymore because of the things that I've been able to accomplish within the organization. And currently, I've got my mates that I work with, and we basically, it's diversity, you know. As an individual, you shouldn't be one-dimensional, because that will hinder you from growing in love. So that's another thing that I've learned within the organization. And I've learned that the most important thing is it's not about what you say, it's about what you say to the right people.
Okay.
Get what I mean? That's when you're going to grow in love. So that's another thing I've learned. And I've learned that you need people. You need to be good to people so that things can work your way. So with that being said, I've been privileged to branch out and start other things just after I've started Change Movement. So we've started 2 other things with my mates from university. That's namely Massive Action. It's a modeling agency that I started with Ukonco Makula and Vermin Laughter Events. It's an events company based in Cape Town, and we host events, and that I started with a close friend of mine from Durban, Mhlanga Voyomfeka. So all those things that I've been able to start and pursue, the 2 businesses that I just stated now, I started them only because I took a leap of faith to start Change Movement and grow, and then I believe that I can start more other things.
That is phenomenal. Tell us, what is the future looking like for Pioneer of Change?
The future looks quite promising, because when I reflect upon the year and 3 months of existence, the impact that we've had and the things that we've done overwhelming. And we've had an opportunity to be in 4 radio stations already. Sorry, that's Cape Talk. We've been there 3 times, and we've also been, we've been at Alfred's radio station, and we're here today at Cape Talk Open Studio. So people are aware of the work that we do. They're inspired by the work that we do, and that means it's only a matter of paving the pathway and impacting lives.
Absolutely. Do you have any other NGOs and sponsorships that is helping you running this drive?
Well, currently we're not sponsored. The organization itself is registered, namely Pioneers of Change / Change Movement, reference number 213373. So it's a registered NPO under Department of Social Services. However, we haven't been sponsored as yet, and we only do all these things that we do because of we didn't say just because we haven't been sponsored that will hinder us from doing things. Get what I mean? I had to change mentality again, pun intended. Yes. So what we did is we have merchandise that we sell as an organization. It's change tops and change caps. So from all the money that we get from those sales, that's basically the source of income that we use to perform our drives and all the work that we do.
So you guys don't get any sponsorships at all.
At all, no sponsorship at all.
So you basically work yourself to get the products and you can install it into people that's in need.
Definitely.
That is absolutely phenomenal. How can the general public get involved with this if they want to help you guys with some sponsorships?
Well, they can get involved by emailing smzimba25@gmail.com, or alternatively checking us out on our Facebook profile and seeing the work that we do, or on Instagram. On Facebook, we're there as change.movement, and then on Instagram at change.movement as well. Or alternatively, they can get in contact with me on my WhatsApp number, cell phone number, which is 072 073 7424. I repeat, 072 073 7424.
That is phenomenal. There's a question, a tricky question I want to ask you. What were some of the biggest challenges in this road that you faced?
To be honest with you, the biggest challenge was trusting people. I had to know that there's a higher power. So by knowing that there's a higher power, it means you don't allow mediocre things or influences to bring upon fear in your endeavors. You must know that there's a higher power. So when you have to, you know, in businesses and in life in general, you have ideas. But there's something that a pastor at Hillsong said. He said, you can never, he said, you haven't dreamt if you think you can achieve your dreams alone. So what does that mean? That means you need people. But for you to bring upon your ideas to people, you need to have faith and know that there's a higher power, irrespective of whether the person is going to acknowledge your idea or they're going to pursue whatever mission you guys have together. It doesn't matter. Just express yourself, because you never know who's listening and you never know who's willing to help. So one of the things that challenged me was basically having to trust people and know that even if people turn against me or they don't pursue endeavors with me or they try to backstab me, whatever, I must know that there's a higher power.
Absolutely.
And that's God.
Absolutely. And who inspires you?
Who inspires me? To be honest with you, Vusi Timbekwayo inspires me, but most importantly, what inspires me is the fear of dying, having not achieved what I think I can achieve and not having had an impact in society. Because I had a very, I'd say, mind-blowing conversation. I was privileged enough last year to have a 2-hour conversation with the local mayor in Coxhead when I asked him to come speak at the Career Expo that we hosted on the 19th of January at Power of Love. So what he said was he's inspired by what we're doing as young people. He didn't know that young people can think like this, and he was very enthusiastic towards attending the Career Expo, and he basically cleared his whole schedule to come through to the Career Expo.
That's such a powerful and phenomenal story. Thank you so much, Siyabonga. Guys, thank you for watching Open Studio on Cape Town TV. And if you want to help, please contact Siyabonga. Do you mind just giving us your contact details again?
072 073 7424.
And catch us again in Open Studio. God bless. Goodbye.